All right. I got this fuzzy thing on today, so hopefully that'll help keep the noise down. I don't know. It's kind of annoying though. Oh. Another rainy day in this poor excuse for a winter. Ohio winter, man, is an absolute joke. Oh, yeah. Well, let's see what we got today. We got regular bench again, which is nice. By that I mean standard grip and not close grip. So that's good. Getting back to what I enjoy most. Although, like I said, the close grip is great for the triceps, and I hit the hitting the triceps on on Wednesday, and then with some LTEs as well. They're not exactly sore, but I can tell that I did some work not too long ago, so that's good. Oh, man. Another rainy day in Ohio, but I kind of like the rain, frankly. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but I've always been a big fan of the rain. There's something about a clear, sunny day that for some reason really just makes me kind of, I don't know, anxious maybe. So it's kind of nice when you get the rainy day, in my opinion. I'm not sure what it is. I've always been like that. Even as a kid, I remember watching the rain, being just obsessed with the rain. Starts raining, pull my little toy chair up, and just watch out the window. It's a very interesting, I don't know why I've always been that way. Oh. And it's not changed as I've gotten older. Something, I think, just generally peaceful, I think, about the pitter-patter of the rain. So, lucky me, we get to train in the rain today. Now, not quite in the rain, but you know what I mean. Oh. Oh boy. Feeling pretty good today. Not too tired. Slept pretty well. Which is good. Got a little bit of food in me, which is harder and harder to do as my kids become animals and maniacs. All I seem to do, my wife and I, is fix them food. But we don't, our eating habits are very random at this point. I'm trying to deal with that, but that's okay. And so I'm trying to, and I was going to go for a, oh shit, we're doing these paused. Okay. I was going to go for the state bench press record until I bummed my shoulder up. And so I was staying within, the kind of weight class I naturally live in. But now I kind of think it's not really worth it. Not really worth it to stay light. I mean, once I bummed my shoulder up, I was definitely not going to get the record anyway. And but I've been staying kind of within a weight class. I think it's in kilos, but I think it's 145 is the most I could weigh. 146, something random probably, or I should say kind of in a poundage seems random, but 146 and a half or something like that. And the record, if I remember right, was something like 302, something like that, 302 pounds, which I could have gotten, but I could have beaten that. But now I'm nowhere near that. Having my shoulder giving me the fits like it has been, but green pastures ahead. I think we maybe are, out of the rough patch. And we can kind of start building back. So, but we shall see. I don't want to rush it. Oh my goodness. So I went and picked up a new mic today, although I don't have the adapter yet to put it on my phone. But so we're trying to step up right now. I'm borrowing a mic setup that's very nice that my boss has. And I'll tell you that I kind of get, and I said from the beginning, this is kind of I got this idea watching Sam Sulek, and with the rain, I figured I'd just wear a hat today. And I'll tell you, I get it. I fucking get it, man. Putting the mic up on the hat like that is a smart move. A smart move for sure. But we'll see. I don't love the idea of wearing a hat necessarily when I lift, but with the rain, we'll do it today. And so far, I'm liking the microphone being clipped up on the hat a lot more than I did having it clipped to my shirt. And I think it'll probably sound better on your guys' end. I don't know. We'll watch it back and see. But, so we're only working up to 202 today, which, you know, we're like 45 pounds under my close grip. But, you know, even though I'm feeling better, shoulders feeling good, moving through range of motion well, without any problems, we're still going to take our time. Probably make 5-pound jumps. We might stray into bigger jumps here before too long, but for right now, you know, I'm certainly not in any hurry. I want to be, but I know that being conservative is the key here, and making sure that the shoulder's good and it holds up. Very good. All right, what do we got here? So we got 135, 155, 185, 195. So that's the 195. Go up to 200, because again, just like I mentioned on the last couple, we're going to, I'm going to load up the back end of these sets so I can try to get as much weight on the bar as possible. Since I'm technically only doing one work set. So we'll load up the last couple warm-ups heavy and real close to which I don't know. I don't know that that's exactly what my coach would want. But, you know, I'm doing the best I can to stay conservative, operate within the confines of his coaching. But I gotta say, I just want to go, man. So I think I'm only doing the one work set. I'm just making the last few warm-ups real heavy. So hopefully that satisfies the coach's requirements, and it certainly makes me feel a little bit better, because I'm not used to doing single heavy sets, certainly that are so far below what I'm capable of. I mean, I think my PR for 5 is something like 270. Maybe I hit 275. Not totally sure. Somewhere around there. So we'll take 270. So, you know, 202.5 is mentally is hard. As much as I try to, you know, remain objective, my emotions are undoubtedly tied up into my own training. It's very hard. Not impossible, but it's very hard to program for yourself a lot of times, because, especially when you're dealing with some sort of setback, as soon as things start feeling good, it's really hard to not push it. All right. So I'll set the timer, even though it's still pretty light, so I'm not resting a lot. I mean, I burn through these warm-ups pretty damn quick, which is what you should do normally anyway. It's like I mentioned last time, I'm doing sets of 5, ascending sets all the way up to the work set, so it's a little different than your typical warm-up. And so normally I would be working through them a little slower than you would typically. But again, this weight really is light. And so, I could take advantage of it and work through it quick. But, going back to the programming for myself, it's not super hard for me to do when I'm not hurt, or when I'm not coming back from some sort of issue. Some guys have a hard time of it. Take the time to write out programming, and then you get into the gym and you think, well, I know I wrote this out, but I know I can do more than that when I'm in here. It's almost this dual kind of brain versus brawn type scenario, or brain versus ego. Not everybody, but I know some coaches struggle with that programming for themselves. So in my case, with coming back from the dealing with the shoulder, I knew it was a good idea to hire somebody else to kind of work through and do the programming for me, so that I wasn't screwing myself over and pushing things too quickly. But I'll tell you, that's having a good coach. Having a good coach is man, it's worth the money. It's worth the money. It can be really hard, especially especially for the non-coaches. The big thing is, like, the reality of programming and coaching in general is that you kind of need to just see a ton of situations and scenarios, and it's just a bunch of trial and error, because outside of the first, I don't know, depending on the lifter's history, but the first 3 months to 8 months, whatever, can be, and typically is, pretty simple. And so you can get a lot of stuff done on your own, and you don't have to worry too much. But then as soon as you're getting past the point where just about anything will make you stronger, the programming becomes pretty difficult, because the further along your training journey you get, the more tailored it becomes to the individual, right? So, I've been training for a long time, but let's just say I've been training for 5 years. And another guy, similar age, maybe even similar size, starts training day one, same time as me. By the time, you're basically the same, and then by the time you get to year 5, and frankly way before year 5, but just as an example, year 5, they're drastic, they're miles apart. And so when you're not used to programming for other people, it gets really hard to program into the more intermediate phases, because templates, generally speaking, they're templates. They're not for the individual necessarily. And so even getting on and having somebody who knows what they're doing, generally speaking, giving you a general outline or template, it's all of those need to be tailored. So it's very difficult. So, you know, if you're struggling, get yourself a coach. Get yourself a coach that can watch your movement, watch the bar speed, and kind of help direct you. It's well worth it. All right. All right. 5 reps, pause bench, nice and smooth. All right. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. And so it's easy peasy. That's it for the bench. And so just like on Monday, we'll do some curls. Curls for the girls, which I think I mentioned. I think I probably mentioned last time, but that's kind of the funny saying, you know, curls for the girls. But contrary to what you might hear and like to think, most compliments come from other dudes, which is fine. Which is fine. You compliments are good, no matter who they come from. But most girls don't give a shit about it. So certainly they don't give a shit enough to come out and tell you anything, I would think. Although, you know, shit, man, I'm an old man at this point, and I've been married going on a decade, so I don't know what it's like anymore. Other than I know I don't envy anybody on the dating market right now. Shit's wild. All right. So we got what? Bench done, 202.5. Set of 5, paused. Pretty solid. I will take it. And then we've got curls. And again, easy bar curls. Easy bar, probably not necessarily ideal as it pertains to bicep contraction. But I think I mentioned on Monday, you do tend to kind of see that you get a little bit less issues with the elbow using the easy bar. So I'm definitely not suggesting you should use it. Generally, you know, it's kind of up to you what you see, what results you get. You know, to have some trial and error. But I think just the nature of the bicep and the contraction being a matter of the twisting, the rotation, which you don't really get at all in the, I mean, depending on how you hold it, I suppose, but generally the way you're going to hold it with the easy bar, you're not going to get that rotation. And so, you know, it's not going to get you the big peak, but if your elbows bother you at all, you might find some relief, which is always nice. If you can continue to train, you know, you make the adjustments. What are we working up to? I think we're working up to 97.5 today. So, you know, nothing too crazy. Pretty solid for me, as being a small guy like I am. Oh, what do we got? So we got someone else in the stream. I got the. Hopefully the chat is open. I got my. I got my laptop over here. To kind of, so I can keep an eye on the chat. You know, the hope with this, at least to some degree, as I keep doing these live streams, is to kind of, if a few people want to watch and join in, you know, use the chat to strike up a bit of a conversation. So, whoever you are, feel free if you'd like to say hello. All right, so we're gonna do. We're not gonna warm up a ton as far as the amount of reps. You know, on the LTEs, the triceps were plenty warmed up on Wednesday from all the heavy tricep close grip. But the, you know, your biceps, certainly there's blood flow. It's not like just because the biceps are not massive contributors into the bench press doesn't mean that there isn't blood flow, obviously, right? I mean, it's not like the blood doesn't go to the bicep. So much of the finishing of the presses are tricep. So, you know, there's a lot of blood flow there. But I'll probably do a little more warming up with the curls than I did with the LTEs on Wednesday. You know, one thing I've been measuring my biceps after each lift because, you know, why not? You know, what the hell? But I noticed that my right bicep is about a 1/4 inch smaller than my left, which is an interesting development. Also fairly irrelevant, but nonetheless, which is, you know, and I'm right-handed. But the one thing though I've noticed for a very long time is that I do seem to have much better control with my left arm. Specifically as I'm flexing, which I don't quite get, but the contraction seems like I have more control over the contraction, get a better peak out of the left arm. And I don't know what that's about, to be honest with you. It doesn't, it's counterintuitive, but it doesn't matter. I'm not going to do anything right now to try and make up the size difference. One, it's probably not noticeable to anybody outside of myself when I'm, and even then, until I measured it, I didn't really notice. So, but generally speaking, you know, outside of being pretty far into a bodybuilding style career, the idea that you should hit one arm or one leg or what have you with any more intensity to try to balance out the asymmetry of size, it's kind of a waste of time. I mean, early on, certainly, I wouldn't waste it. You just go heavy, things will catch up. You know, I suppose when you're at the top level and you're going for that perfect symmetry, you know, that's one thing. But if you're just training to look good, more importantly to feel good, make your life easier by getting stronger, you know, the aesthetics come, and frankly, things for the most part are going to fall in line pretty well, and you're not going to have to worry about all that shit. And so you don't have to waste your time with it. You can just worry about hitting the compound movements and getting nice and strong. So we'll set the timer up for just a couple minutes. So you'll notice I'm putting a belt on for this. And so it's probably worth kind of going into a little bit. The belt is not a tool that's going to help you in the sense that it assists in the lift, like, for example, knee wraps or elbow wraps will. So, you know, you take a knee wrap, for example, and I don't mean a knee sleeve, although there's a little bit with a knee sleeve as well. Well, hell, so take a knee sleeve. You get a knee sleeve that is, let's say you should be wearing a large, and you buy a medium, or hell, even a small, something that is just tight, hard to get on, hard to pull up the leg onto the knee. But once you get it up, you're kind of walking, well, you're walking like I was when I was first getting around. The knees is, you know, there's not a whole lot of flexion in the knee. So, yes, those are going to hold energy. So you squat down, energy is kind of held in those knee sleeves. And again, these are really, really tight. A knee sleeve that fits you properly, which means you're tight, but you can walk normally. You get the normal amount of flexion in the knee as you walk. It's not quite the same thing. But you get a knee sleeve that's super tight, and it holds that energy, and then releases it on the way up. And so you'll see this more so, you'll see this with knee wraps. So you see a guy who's down and he's wrapping his knees, and usually you're going to see that in like these geared powerlifting meets. And I don't necessarily mean gear as in steroids, but equipped. And so you get a guy who, or girl, whatever, and you get a guy who squats in a properly sized knee sleeve, or no sleeves at all, whatever. And let's say he's doing 405 or, I don't know, even 500, which is solid, very solid. But you get a real tight knee wrap on to hold all that energy. And hell, man, you know, they might be up into the sevens. Now, to some degree, I'm pulling the number out of my ass a bit. But the reality is you get that, and you know, as I'm kind of thinking out loud and talking about you're also going to typically see that they're wearing a super tight onesie. The fuck are they called? Singlet. And all of these things add up, right? And so you see these guys in a bench singlet or something like a bench sleeve, a bench shirt, where they can't even get their arms down, and they're going from 405 on the bench press to fucking 700. And a 405 is pretty good. So, but anyway, the point is, as I'm rambling on here, the belt does not hold any kind of energy like that. And so it's not actually helping you lift directly. Now, what it is doing, though, is it's helping you, it's giving you an external resistance to brace against. All right, so the brace is key. You get big breath of air, you fill the lungs, and then you pressurize the trunk, and you hold that air in, and it pressurizes the trunk, keeps the spine protected, right? So the belt itself does not do that. But however, the belt, with that external resistance, i.e., it gives your abs, gives your trunk something to press up against, right? And so it gives you that external resistance that allows you to brace harder, allows you to contract the trunk muscles harder, therefore protecting your back better. But it's not the belt. If you don't brace, the belt's not really doing anything, right? So it's what we would call a proprioceptive feedback tool, in that You use the belt as external resistance. You push into the belt, trying to expand it. That's the idea. And then you can feel when you lose that brace, because you feel the belt all of a sudden is not as tight. And so it's a great tool for kind of understanding when you're bracing. Because when it gets heavy, it's hard to do. It's hard to do. You know, anytime anything gets real heavy, you know, you're able to focus on like one thing maybe, and usually that one thing is simply the goddamn weight on your back. You know what I mean? Like you're okay, get bent over, get the knees out. What, like a lot of that stuff's out the window. You're thinking, okay, heavy, heavy, something's heavy on my back. Jesus Christ, squat down, don't fall down, don't die. I mean, you're so anything you can have physical feedback on from the belt can kind of help you. All right, so we're going to go for 12. 12 is the top end. I certainly don't think I'm going to get more than 12, but we'll see if we can at least shoot for 9 or 10, and we'll push the last couple. And so I think what I'll probably do is some rest pause. As soon as I'm done, if I don't get all 12, rest for 3 or 4 seconds and hit it again. Oh, fuck. I think that's 9. I think that's 9. Shit. Oh, shit. All right, I don't know exactly what that was. Maybe 10 total? Oh, shit. 10, maybe 11. Oh, my God. That feels good. Well, it doesn't feel good, but I mean, it feels good to get some pump into the arm, to be honest, and it feels good to push around a little bit of heavy weight. I mean, 97.5 is, I don't know what that is. 140. I'm walking around at 140 right now. So, let's see. Fuck, I don't know. What's half of that? 70. Yeah, so, half of 70, 35. I don't know, 70%, something. Hell, I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. For me, it's heavy. Especially if you're trying to get into that 9, 10, 11, 12 rep range. And I will say, I mean, you know, like I was saying I'm not feeling a ton of pump in my bicep. I know that I'm not getting a real great peak. And in fact, most of it I'm feeling is in the forearm. And a lot of that is, you know, as you get up, you're kind of fighting to curl with the wrist, whether you intend to or not, whether you realize it or not. So a lot of the tension and pump is in the forearm. But I know that I'm getting some solid work to the bicep because they are slowly growing. So, you know, it is working slowly. But, you know, frankly, I like a freaky fucking looking forearm. and I've got great vascular, aesthetics with the forearm. Not as, not like elite, but certainly they stand out, and I like that. So I'm good with getting a forearm pump, even if I'm not quite getting the kind of bicep pump that I'm hoping for. Good, a nice, fat forearm is good for me. And the nice thing with me, so if you're a small frame dude and you got these tiny little chicken shit wrists, well, guess what? Forearm looks even bigger. So, it's funny. I used to be, I don't know, not super hard on myself necessarily, like being a short guy, because there's nothing you can do about it, right? I mean, technically you could. You can hack my fucking leg off and add some spacers or whatever, which is wild as hell. And given that I've already had my leg hacked up, I don't think I will be doing that anytime soon. But there's nothing you can do about your height by and large. And that used to bother me a fair bit. Certainly more so in grade school, which, hey, that's whatever. That's typical, But the older I get, the more I realize from a strength perspective, and then B, an aesthetic perspective. Having the small frame has actually been very helpful in kind of getting to some of the goals I want. And I wanted to get a bigger chest, bigger arms, thick back, all these things. Well, I'll tell you, I mean, it's not that it was easy for me to do, to get where I'm at now, but, working up to a 300 plus pound bench took a long time, and it took a lot of hard work. But, and I don't know the fucking science behind it, but, if you got less surface to fill out, I think it's been something that's been in my favor to be a small, smaller, shorter guy when it comes to aesthetics and filling out the chest and the back, because it's like all that energy can go into the depth. And a lot less of it is kind of taken up by the height of it. So, whatever, I don't know. I'm basically just fucking rambling. But, I don't know. There's something to it, bro. There's something to that. All right. Well, I'm fucking rambling on here. To be honest, I'm kind of not super excited to do this second set. Not super excited to do this second set. And then we've got, if I've got enough time, we might do a set to failure of chins. So right now, I'm trying to get in some chins with a little bit of body weight, or excuse me, with a little bit of extra weight hanging from me. But it's been hard to fit the time, to time it out. So I get into the gym before my clients, give myself about an hour, which, as it gets heavier, rest time needs to increase. And then, obviously, since I've started streaming, a little more of that time is taken up with that. But I think it's a good trade-off. It's been fun talking into the camera, the little bit I've been doing of it. So, it's pretty sweet. But, fuck, one more. Hey, Peter. Give me just a minute, bud. Give me just a minute, I'll be done. I'll get you signed in, bud. Yeah, absolutely. I will, buddy. Oh, all right. Chest, and biceps. Good lift. Good lift. My man Mike seems to be the viewer. Whew. Fucking hell. All right. Until next time.